Hello there YouTube, I am Wheelchair21, and on today's rolling review we have SH Figuarts Lord Beerus from Dragon Ball Super. Yes, as you can see on this box, it is marketed under the Super line, and not actually Battle of Gods, Resurrection of F, it is Super Edition. And there's really not much difference between Beerus' design between the, well, three, I guess, versions that we've seen him in. So, here's his box, pretty basic. Front looks very similar to old school style boxes, or mostly anime boxes. Keep the old style now, where riders are now more refined and smaller. The back of the box, as so, shows pretty much the amount of posability the figure has, as well as other accessories it will come with. Inside, we have, well then, for a total of 5 additional hands, 2 additional heads, one that's him angered, one that's him yawning, as well as a tail. So, overall, he comes with 8 additional accessories, other than the figure itself. So we'll get the figure out of the packaging, we'll attach the tail, and we'll talk, about what this puppy can do and what it can't do. Once removing Beerus from his packaging, you can see he's obviously a wonderfully designed figure, and just has several points of articulation. All of them are visible due to the fact that he is an anime character, and because of that, sometimes his clothes can at least hide the legs of the pants, or the pants can hide the leg joints, whereas the upper body, since he's technically naked, wearing only an Egyptian mantle, you can see all the joints in his arms and his abs, and it's not really hidden due to parts of a suit when you have say a Kamen Rider character. And talking about the fact that he is an anime character, one of my biggest hate for anime Figuarts in general is the fact that when characters are designed to have a slim and slender figure, I often worry that points of articulation will cause it to break, actual joints will break, or joints will cause itself to break, due to the fact that when we talk about our shoulder joints, they're kind of often hindered by his actual mantle here, because they're on a small little ball joint peg, which I feel can either pop out or break inside the shoulder, or cause the actual shoulders to break off, due to how it can get caught on the actual mantle to complete it as one streamlined piece, or get caught inside and under it, causing the shoulder to snap off when you're trying to pose it as such. It makes the shoulder joints ever so tight. Now, the bicep joints have an easy swivel. As you can see, he can rotate his arms out and inwards for a full 360. He has double jointed elbows, which actually sway a lot better than Kamen Riders. I always notice that the arm joints always have better sway when you have an anime figure than you do a Toku character. The wrist joint is very, very visible compared to most I've ever seen before, and you can actually see it. It's a little bit tighter and a little bit looser depending on where in which you sway the fist and the wrist, but overall, he still has that piece there. The ab joint is wonderful, even though it does expose the internal mechanism of the toy, the figure, but it's nice nonetheless, and it gives him a lot of motion, at least to fly. The belt is molded on, or it's actually a loose piece. I can't really tell from here, but the front piece does have a bit of sway. It's nice and rubbery plastic, as so do his ears, and his tail does have some of that too. So you maybe can bend your tail a bit, where it also has a ball joint sway, which I never really paid attention to this. I thought he just had the tail stick out through his pants, but no, it kind of stops right at his butt crack, as well as you can noticeably see the joints of his knees when you look at the back of the figure, which isn't too bad because Goku has that same typical error as well. And then he has similar feet to Piccolo because they like to wear these weird, socks/shoes. I don't know what the best way to explain them are. I kind of think they're just moccasins of some sort, but they probably have a better actual name thus far. Anyways, you can see, wide range, keeps all of his posability, is very articulate, and practically the only thing else I can talk about is the detail. It's a very simple use of purples and blues with gold trim to make him look very royal-esque, because he's supposed to be an Egyptian god, he's supposed to be a god in general, and he's just one badass mofo. So, let's go look at the other accessories he comes with, like his additional heads. Now, taking a closer look at the 2 optional heads, he comes with his yawning face, which we quite frankly see him do quite a bit. especially in both Battle of Gods and Resurrection of F, since he always tends to be sleeping. And then you have his usual angered face, when either Whis steals his food, whenever he cannot enjoy his meal, whenever he just wants to sleep, or whenever he's just being a usual bitch-ass mofo himself. But, nevertheless, I gotta say, really well refined details, due to the fact you can see the stress marks or the sway marks in his actual cheekbones and his actual jawline. And I think it's just incredible. I think this is one of the few Figuarts we've ever had to have a well-designed actual skull and face in the line. Most other characters have actually needed to have replaceable faces and replaceable mouths and jaws, but this one is the entire head, and I think it's the best way to capture realistic expressions rather than simple face swaps, even though basic anime characters are as flat as a smooth surface at times when animating and designing them, so that's probably the reason why they just plop them off. Now, as for the additional pairs of hands for Lord Beerus, they are mostly used to pose the figure doing attacks, fighting, being in battle, or just being his comical self. And so, with that, I can honestly say, it's evaluation time, and for my final evaluation, I gotta say, starting off, having Beerus be a retail figure, or a retail Figuart in general, is a good way to kind of fix the issue that Tamashii Nations had in general by making Super Saiyan God Goku, Vegeta, Golden Frieza, and Whis exclusives. Even though Bluefin Tamashii brings them over as American retail figures, they're still limited to online and hobby shops, which means not the basic market can get to them without having to go a little bit extra. Whereas casual, or I should say more avid fans of the franchise that are from Japan or know about buying stuff online can easily get it and have higher hopes of getting this figure reissued. Because, honestly, I will say this right now, the fact that he's retail means that the secondary market price for him will skyrocket and deflate over time due to the fact that Tamashii Nations tends to reissue Dragon Ball Z Figuarts at least once a year or every other year if they were sold at retail. As for the figure itself, it is wonderful. The purple and blue scheme works well. The fact that he is a royal Egyptian cat is great. I actually thought he was supposed to be a jackal. No, he is straight up a cat. The points of articulation, they are immense. They are well defined in this character. They are visible in some cases, but immense. Issues with it are, it is a slim and slender figure, and like all anime figures in the past, I often worry that they tend to break, as mentioned early in the review. Possibility of the wrists, the actual head and neck joint snapping, as well as the shoulder pads breaking off, are my biggest concern, as well as the tail seems to be very loose and may pop out over time. But with those small cons to the figure, all the pros are great. It's a retail figure, chances of reissue, wonderfully designed, great Dragon Ball Z character, and in my personal opinion, probably one of the best or the second best mentor character to Goku, aside from technically Roshi. I mean, Beerus and Whis are pretty much up at the top too, since Whis does most of the training, and Beerus is just that guy just standing around. Anyways, only other con I can say really for this figure is the fact there's no accessory count, but I should say accessory effect parts like, blast attacks, but not all Figuarts come with that, especially in the Dragon Ball Z line. Only a select few do. Anyways, since I said it is retail, you can find it at stores like BBTS, basic hobby shops, maybe GameStop, and online you can find it at AmiAmi, Hobby Search, and HLJ. Nevertheless, if you like this figure and hope to have it for your collection, I insist you like this video, comment on this video, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, check me out at Hirotaku, as well as my news site, Hero Club.